Life Coaching Today presents, hosted by Godinez.
Hey everyone, it is 10 o'clock on this good, what day is it? It's like Thursday morning. Why am I like not knowing what day it is? But I am going live, so thank you all for joining me. If you're joining me, this is another podcast that I am doing right now. And the fun thing is that I have decided that some of my guests, because normally I'm on at 7 a.m., sometimes those guests cannot make it at 7 a.m. And so I'm going live now. So if you are seeing me on Facebook, if you are seeing me on Instagram or all those fun places, my name is Godinez Mary Gray. I am your conflict coach, aka known as the conflict whisperer. And today I have an exciting show. Something that I have dabbled in a little bit, and no, this is not witchcraft, y'all. But I have just dabbled a little bit with yoga. We're going to talk about yoga today. And I know that's like, Kadada, what about yoga? And not that it's the working out on the mat kind of thing, but more so beyond the yoga mat, because I dislike yoga. I think it's slow. It's too slow in my brain. It is kind of boring. I admittedly say that. And but I was talking to this wonderful yoga teacher who we're going to talk with at around 10:15, 10:20 when I bring her on, Johanna Godinez. I'm going to have her pronounce her name for me properly because I don't want any disrespect in that space. However, I do want to chat you all up a little bit about something in the news that has gotten on my nerves. You know, stuff gets on my nerves, irritates my spirit, and we have to chat it up because I was thinking about this. So I have lived in the United States a long, long time, and I am a child of immigrants. My family are immigrants, and, you know, American history is my adopted history. And I am, and when I say adopted history, I mean like I read the books about slavery in the United States and racism in the United States and Reconstruction and all the periods in the civil rights movement and so forth. And I never thought that there would be a time where racism would be at a peak where I would be involved. Does that make sense? Like I like an involvement, meaning that I can actually see it. There's an awareness of it. It is brought forward, and it's here, right? And I feel like for me, this is my time of, I don't even know if to call it reconstruction. I'm trying to find the name of it exactly because I'm talking to my family members. I'm talking to my mommy, who is not an American citizen. So try me if you want to. But like I said, my family are immigrants. My entire family are immigrants. And my children are first generation born and raised Americans, Caribbean Americans. See how I said that? Caribbean Americans. And so we talk about like, what is this racism stuff? All these things that feel like we've reached back into history and plopped it down here in 2025. And one of the things that caught my attention, hey Taisha, hey sister, that caught my attention was the let me go back into my phone because let's give all honor where it's due. And I feel like let's call people out respectfully. If you've earned it, you've earned it. And so, you know, we understand the idea of the what is it, like the GoFundMe accounts, right? And I'm sure everyone's familiar with GoFundMe. You know, something happens, people are going to GoFundMe, and it's a platform where people can donate money for people's issues and whatnot, right? What I did not know, because I've always thought like GoFundMe was a platform for good. Well, I'm not saying, I'm not throwing GoFundMe under the bus. I'm just using that as an example. I did not know that there was a Christian fundraising group called, um, I'm looking it up again because I'm like, wait a minute. When there's just so much to say, you can't even understand life sometimes. And I think that's where I'm at. So it's called Give, Send, Go. That's the Christian kind of equivalent to the GoFundMe platform. So it's Give, Send, Go. And let me just pause and say right now that they are not the problem. So don't go for them. Don't come for them. Don't go attacking them because they actually did the right thing. So, we have this version of Christianity occurring in the United States right now. Everything from, we're calling them Christian nationalists. I'm just calling them, they're not Christian at all. Those type of people are not Christian. And I knew that once I heard one of them say, somebody in Congress who's a Republican, MAGA Christian nationalist, who said some foolishness like Jesus was too woke, right? We're going to leave that there. So I know that they are just on some ish. So, but here's the thing. There was a white woman up in Minnesota, and this particular article does not name her, I guess, to protect her. And I understand that because I don't promote bullying. I don't believe in that. I do believe in holding people to account, though. And I think that's very different. And I guess she was at a park. The story is told that she was at a park and she had her purse down. If you're playing in the park, you're at the park with your children. Mommies, you know how this goes. And apparently a little child wandered over, stuck his hand into her bag, her purse, pulled something out. And I'm going to pause and just say, what would you do in that situation? I know what I would do in that situation because I love little people. I think little people just do what they want to do because when you're a toddler, that's what toddler life is, right? So if you look for the parent, you kind of coax to the child like, oh, can I have this back? Normal mommy 101 behavior, I think. So here's the thing. And I say this because this white woman reacted in a very mean, aggressive manner towards this little person because this little person was a little Black child. And she decided that she was going to call him the N-word. She was going to call him all kinds of things, y'all. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we do now. Like, we out here cussing at little children. And don't get me wrong, I know people cuss and curse at little children, but calling names is wild. It's wild to me. And so I'm like, wow, like people are very visibly open in regards to their racism and they feel very comfortable. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to say this. The New York girl in me, the Caribbean girl in me is like, listen, I'm going to need you to show your racism up front and be upfront with me so I know how to deal with you. I'm clear about that. I don't need you to pretend. I don't need any of that stuff. But when I first read this story, I promise you, I was like, is this like 1922? Who was out here spitting this language at little people? And my mind went to as well, those pictures of Ruby Bridges going to school and the kid and the grown. No, they weren't grown because they were teenagers, right? They were still young people whose brains were still trying to develop, screaming and yelling at this little girl. So here's what happened, right? So someone decided, I guess, I don't know if it was her or someone else decided to put herself on this platform, this fundraising platform, Give, Send, Go, which once again, I said is a Christian platform. And she raised $675,000 before it was taken down. Now, I'm confused about how a racist can raise $675,000. However, that just means that there are more racists out there that are open who feel like they are being attacked and judged, which I find fascinating. Because I guess when you live in hate, you feel like you should wave your hate flag proudly. And I guess I'm here for it, but it's kind of shocking. It's shocking to me, once again, because when you have adopted history and then you are now sitting inside of history, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know I would be able to witness it. So I just want to read to you what a woman called White Texas Mommy wrote, because I'm just like, wow, this is fascinating. And this is what's being put into the internet, being put in the world. And I'm just like, I just don't get it. So she says, these young generations of whites are sick of bullying, intimidation, and being made to shut up about race issues. That's what she wrote on the fundraising page. And then she contributed $50. I guess she don't have a lot of money in her racism, but okay, we're gonna leave that alone. But then she said, they call us racist because we are whites. Nothing will ever make them happy. They've been given trillions of dollars. They've been allowed into our schools and neighborhoods, forced upon us at every turn, and they still aren't happy. That's another donor who said that. Hay Wildrick wrote before contributing $88. I do want to say this because I'm kind of petty today. So y'all ain't got no money. Y'all got all that chat to chat, but all y'all got is $50 and $88. And so $675,000 later, this fundraising platform, the president intervened, took it down, and basically said, due to the unacceptable volume of racist and derogatory remarks, they took it down. But here's where we need to have some conversation about how comfortable we are in saying things. And listen, it is always going to be a conflict around what are we able to say. And I'm a big fan of, I always say, talk about saying things with a light of diplomacy. Well, diplomacy, being diplomatic and being racist, the two don't mesh together. They don't go hand in hand, because hate is different than delivering a message that can hopefully enlighten someone or grow someone. Hate does not do that. I want to be clear about that. So if y'all are out here listening, y'all are like, but Kadada, we have the right to say whatever we want to say. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Just understand that however someone receives it and how someone reacts to it, your hate may not be how you feel that they need to react. I just want to say that to you, because hate can generate hate. And I'm a big fan of, we have got to stop putting hate in the world. If you want things to get better, it would be a good choice to do things differently. Now, here's what's interesting. So she spoke hate, and they say the reason why this was created for her was because she had been threatened, and that her personal information, such as her social security number, her phone number, and her address, was leaked. Excuse me, I'm taking a sip of my lemon water. And so I just want to say this, so you're clear about my stance. I'm not a big fan of outing people with their personal information, because it's dangerous. That does not serve anything. That is not a resolution. That does not resolve anything. Having her go into hiding because she does have children, because obviously she was at a children's park. I don't know what she teaches her children. But we should not harm people in that way, because once again, harm begets harm, and that does not, it's like the 1 + 1 = 2, but this is 1 + 1 = -1,000 in the most negative way. And this is just unsafe. It's just unsafe. But I just thought that but just imagine that literally we have people out here, $700,000 that you all donated to a racist, that were donated to a racist woman who attacked a child, right? Now, I do want to say this is Rochester, Minnesota, not Rochester, New York. But I do want to shout out the Rochester branch of the NAACP, because the family that was harmed, with the little baby that was harmed, they raised for them $341,484. Now, I will say this. I'm sometimes I don't understand why we think that a monetary contribution is the end all be all to it's like a salve, something that you rub onto your skin. I'm not sure I understand that part, but if that is the way that in the United States we decide that that's how we show love, I'm here for it. And they say that they're standing in full solidarity with that, with the child and their family, because it is ridiculous. And I do want to shout out an individual who actually gave us the clip, who gave us the opportunity to see this information. And I believe his name was Shamarki Omar. Sorry, brother, if I pronounced your name wrong. He's 30 years old, and he intervened when he saw the woman berating this child. And guess what? That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to intervene. And then she was repeatedly called the baby a slur. Now, here's what's interesting. She didn't call this grown man a slur. When the baby was being carried away, she said, "He took my son's stuff." I don't know. I don't know. I have been a mommy a very long time, and I know that kids take other kids' stuff, and I just don't know. I've never called any of them names. I just want to say that. I just want to be clear. But, as I was sitting and pondering this, I said, Lord, because sometimes I tell you guys what are the next books that I'm reading. And last week I was reading this book. I still have it in front of me. I was reading Bingo Pam, that whole conversation about having that relationship with the side chick, your father's side chick, that conversation. So I'm on to my next book that has been sitting on my bookshelf. And I said, Lord, I need you to help me pick the next book. And if there's something in the book that I need to talk about on my podcast, please let me know. Just guide me in that space. Because you know what? And I stood and I waited for a second and I was like, okay, y'all, let the ancestors guide. And ancestors guided me to this book. It's called Brown Faces, White Spaces. Now, I've had this book for a couple months, I think. And my sister girl, Gloria Clark, she got this book for me because her sister girl wrote the book. So it's by Latasha Morrison, and her sister girl wrote this book, right? And I couldn't go to the book signing. And so Latasha Morrison, hey sis, she wrote to me, Kadada, continue to create spaces of healing. And that is exactly what I do. But here's what's fascinating, because, when people do bright things outside of dark things, because that white woman up in Rochester, Minnesota, was trying to create all the darkness in the world and continue that. Latasha Morrison doing bright things, but also I got a surprise, because remember I was like, guide me, direct me to whatever in the book that I need to see. So y'all, I'm flipping through the book, minding my business, and guess what? Voice of Liberation. And guess whose name I saw? Gloria Clark, my sister girl, Gloria Clark. Y'all, she didn't even tell me she was in the book. And as an author, and I write about people all the time, and I had to tell them because I'm like, just in case. But I do want to say this. Gloria Clark is in this book, and she has been my homegirl, as we say back in the day, for a very long time. Y'all see that? Gloria Clark's name right there. Voice of Liberation. And I was like, that is such a good juxtaposition to the foolishness that is going on in Rochester, Minnesota. And I want to tell you all too that the police officers, I just need to say this, the police are still, quote unquote, investigating. It's so interesting how we can investigate stuff. It takes so long to investigate stuff that is recorded. I don't know what we have camera for if we're just like, hey, we saw this. So now it's in the city attorney's office for review. I just want y'all to know. So we got to review 1 and then we got to review 2. So I just want to shout out the light, because I just want to let y'all know, some of y'all out here work really, really hard to be seen. And that's the culture that we live in right now. Hell, I'm a part of the culture. I've got a business coach that's like, Kadada, you need to be seen more. You need to be seen more. You need to make videos. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm actually challenged by that because, listen, I like to live a quiet life. I don't even like to talk that much half the time. And I'm just like, oh, but my voice can be heard, right? Her purpose for me being live and doing all these things is like, listen, I want you to be heard. People need to hear your voice. So there's something good about it. The other side of it, though, is like the foolishness that I see with some of these videos and reels and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what is the intention? Where's the goodness? I do want to say this, though, that there's a part of doing the work that we do. If you are an activist like I am, if you're about liberation like I am, if you were about healing people, showing people how to heal, working with children, being a protector of children, all of these things, that sometimes your light is so bright, you don't even gotta say anything. And this is like my sister girl, Gloria Clark, who is in this book. And she is one of my favorite. She's a principal, former principal. She has loved on my babies. And I just want to say that I saw a note in here that I was like, oh, I need to read this about her. And one of the things that she talked about children, right? And she said, developing villages of support within white spaces is key for students of color's survival. Now, she is a beautiful sister. She's been a teacher. She's been a principal in different states and districts, including Delaware, Washington, D.C. And then us living here in Georgia have been blessed by her. But you know what's really interesting is that I'm going to say this about my sister. If you see her, if you know her, and if you never met her and you see her, you might think she's a white girl. I'm just going to say that. You might think she's a white woman, but she's not. And she has felt it is important enough to pursue liberation for a different sort of student. And now she works in the juvenile justice side of the house. And it's just beautiful because she is creating that system of support. And I hope that little person in that family up in Rochester, Minnesota, has decided that they know. And I said decided to know because that's important, because sometimes when we are in the midst of trauma, a journey that is challenging to us, we actually feel like we're alone, and we're actually not. And so it's actually a choice to accept the help and the community that we can reside in. So I want to shout out my sister girl, Gloria Clark. And I'm going to call you later and curse you because you could have told me you were in the book, but that was such a nice surprise. So go get this book, y'all. Brown Faces, White Spaces, Confronting Systemic Racism to Bring Healing and Restoration. Love it. That's my next text that I'm reading on my bookshelf. Let me tell y'all, we have so much in this world that we fight daily that it is draining to our system. It's draining to us. And we have to figure out what actually enlightens us again, what lights us up again, what gives us energy. And I can tell you, I have to do that because you all know I suffer from fibromyalgia. Hell, it was raining yesterday. Rainy days drain me, make my body hurt. And today the sun came out and I felt like the Energizer Bunny. Okay. And so it's a lot. We have to figure out, especially what's going on in the world today. And actually, I don't even want to call it the world. If you live in the United States, you know what's going on in the world. You know that you are being drained. You know that you feel like you are a top spinning every 15 seconds. And the energy that is being created in the United States is seeping out into the world. And it's just, we're just floating on negativity. So I just want to say that we have options. And one of the options is to have a sense of mindfulness and a reset. And I think that one of the resets that we can do, because I'm all about the tools and about the skills, is yoga. Now, here's the thing. I told y'all earlier, I'm not a big yoga fan. So my next guest is going to convince me about the yoga thing. I got the downward facing dog together because, I know how to do that. But yoga is not, how do I want to say this? It has not triggered my mind, if that makes sense. It's not lighting up the spaces in my mind. I'm a former runner. And so that is something like, oh yeah, I get it. It's a fast-paced kind of thing. And that is something that's not in my mind, like, oh my gosh, that is just something that doesn't click for me. And I know that we've got hot yoga. I know up the street from me, we got hot yoga. And I was like, wait a minute, y'all sweating and doing yoga? Like, how does this work? I'm like, because in my mind, I'm like, how much water are we drinking during this time? So, but I have a wonderful guest that I'm about to bring on that's going to give us some tools beyond the yoga mat. And when I was talking to her when I was talking to Miss Johanna, I said, tell me more. And she said that there are 8 limbs that we really don't talk about in yoga. And I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Because I'd never heard of anything like that. Now you caught my attention because the little intellectual academic brain of mine is always going. So we're calling this topic today Beyond the Yoga Mat, because there is more to life than just stretching. I want y'all to know that. And we're going to teach you all today during this time how to stretch your mind, calm your mind, and find ways to live in this space that is a little bit more peaceful, that brings you peace, that gets you to your center. So we're going to go to commercial real quick, and I'm going to bring on our next guest.
Are you a life coach who wants to make a difference in the world? Do you want to share your wisdom, passion, and experience with others? Do you want to grow your business and reach more clients? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need Life Coaching Today. Life Coaching Today is the largest platform on the web for life coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists who want to enhance their visibility, gain exposure, and connect with clients. Life Coaching Today is more than just a directory. It's a network of opportunities. By joining Life Coaching Today, you will get access to a magazine where you can be featured and connect with over 30 million subscribers. Be a guest to our podcasts with over 55,000 subscribers. A directory where you can showcase your profile, services, and testimonials to thousands of potential clients. And that's not all. Life Coaching Today also offers a free 30-minute coaching session on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where you can be coached or meet your next client. A flexible pricing plan where you can choose the best option for your budget and goals. A dedicated customer service team where you can get help and guidance whenever you need it. So what are you waiting for? Join Life Coaching Today and take your life coaching career to the next level. Visit www.lifecoachingtoday.com and sign up today. Life Coaching Today, the largest portal on the web connecting coaches, therapists, and hypnotherapists.
All right. Hey, y'all. I am back. I am Kadada Esmer Gray, aka your conflict coach, aka conflict whisperer. And y'all caught me in the midst of drinking my lime water. And that's heated, mind you. I'm drinking warm lime water today. And don't ask me why. That was in my spirit to go drink some. So that's what I'm doing. And y'all need to try it. Very different experience than drinking lemon water. So oddly enough, but it is Thursday. I am not on at my normal time, which is at 7 a.m. So it feels a little different because I still feel like I've had the longest day ever at 10:30 a.m. And so if y'all are joining me via Facebook, just know, go back and listen to the first 30 minutes and y'all will hear what I was chatting up about the foolishness up there in Rochester, Minnesota, with this woman raising $700,000 over in regards to her overt racism. I didn't know you could be racist and raise money. Who knew? Oh, I'm sorry. That's what the president does. Sorry. But I can say that, y'all, because I'm a political consultant too. So today, though, we have an awesome guest, and I'm so glad that she is here. And you know my rule of thumb, I don't introduce people really. I don't like to tell people stories because I think it's pertinent for people to tell their own stories and in their own voice. So I'm going to have her introduce herself, and I'm going to ask, please pronounce your name so that way I can get it correct, the last name. But first, y'all, because some of y'all are missing this on the Facebook Live, I'm going to tell y'all, you have to be jealous because I see palm trees in the background. And that's just disrespectful. That's just the level of disrespect. As a Caribbean girl, I'm like, I feel disrespected right now because I don't have palm trees. Y'all can see I love my jockeys, but come on, how are you gonna show up with palm trees? And I'm glad I don't see a coconut anywhere because I'd be further in my feelings. So welcome to my guest. Guest, please introduce yourself with all your palm trees too.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, my name is Johanna Godinez, and I'm in Puerto Rico, so that's
Oh
hence the
Lord,
palm trees.
we're
I
just
am
gonna pause
definitely
for
in
a
the
second.
Caribbean.
We're just gonna pause for a second. Okay.
Take
So,
it
all
all
right.
in.
Take it all in. Take it all in. And now that I'm not in my feelings anymore, all right, proceed. Proceed. So you're in Puerto Rico.
I am, yeah. We have a yoga retreat center down here. We specialize in certifying yoga teachers and introducing people to the lifestyle of yoga. Because as you spoke, it's really important that people understand that yoga is something that happens beyond the yoga mat. And in the Western world, it's been reduced to an exercise. And it
Mhm.
is so much more than that. And the benefits go so much deeper than that. That for me, it's like my passion and my purpose to help elevate the knowledge that people have and the understanding that people have of this philosophy so that they can take advantage of all the benefits that yoga can offer them.
Thank you. So tell us something a little interesting about yourself because you sent me your bio. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I feel like I'm in the space of greatness. So tell us some interesting things. Give us two little interesting tidbits about yourself.
Well, I thought I was going to be a race car driver. That can be an interesting thing.
Really?
When I was younger, I used to race, and most of my young adult life was dedicated to becoming a race car driver. And in
Oh,
2008, when our economy went into the toilet, that dream kind of disappeared with the economy. So,
oh,
um, through a very deep depression, that's how I found yoga, and
mm,
it has really impacted my life and the way that I see the situations in my life, and I'm very grateful for the practice, for everything it's offered me. And thanks to the practice also, I represented Puerto Rico in 2023 in the pageant US Woman of Achievement, and I won. So representing
hey,
Puerto Rico.
I
Yeah,
love
and my
it.
platform was yoga. It's I kind of mocked it a little bit because
Yeah,
I was like, well, most a lot of girls in this pageant talk about we want world peace, and they have
right,
no concrete ways of getting world peace.
right.
And my platform was about the only way that you can create world peace is by creating personal peace, and the way that you do that is through the yoga philosophy.
That's right. Congratulations to you. I love that.
Thank you.
And I'm so fascinated too by the fact that I've got a chick on here that was like, listen, I wanted to be a race car driver. I love that too. I am here for the speed. I am here for the speed. I welcome you to come to Georgia and come to the Porsche Center and drive really super fast. And if
Let's do it.
and listen, y'all, if y'all have never been to the Porsche Center in, I'm just going to call it the Atlanta metro area, and taken the course to drive really fast, y'all are missing out. Missing
Yes.
out. It is a pleasure. We can't drive that fast on 285, so you know. So I have a question for you, Johanna. So you said that you were in a deep depression and you found yoga, right? So I just want, before you found it though, I want you to explain to us what you thought yoga was.
Also, much like everybody else, I thought it was stretching. I thought it was an
Yeah,
exercise. I thought it was something that you do in a hot room to get sweaty and get bendy. And so, to be honest, like when I first started yoga, for me, it sort of was that physical thing that helped me because when I was little, I was a dancer, I was a gymnast,
Right.
And going to my first yoga class, it was like finding my way home. It was so already kind of in my body.
Yeah.
So, like, even the friend who took me to my first class was like, "What the heck? I've been doing this for years, and you get in here and you can do everything your first time." And it was like, back then I was like, so, oh, this is so beautiful in my body. But slowly I started understanding the deeper aspects of the practice, and I realized it doesn't matter if you can even move. Yoga is for everybody.
Okay. I like that. Did your family give you a pushback about you doing yoga?
Absolutely not. No, my family's always been very supportive of my unconventional lifestyle and the way that I see life. I've always sort of been in my own lane. And although my mom sort of tried to like get me to pick a lane, my dad was always like, be all over the road.
Yes.
So I'm very grateful that even today, he's one of my biggest cheerleaders. Like,
I love
every event that I have, he's there, and he makes food for my guests, and he's
Okay.
just super supportive. Yeah.
I love it. So the reason I ask about were they questioning, because people have this version and view of yoga that, especially if they are of the Christian faith, Catholic faith, whatever, if they are of the faith, predominantly in the westernized nations, they see it as, some have described it as demonic. And I think about, like, here we had a principal at one of our schools, because yoga, you guys, I just want to say that you can do the research, and you know how I feel about y'all doing research. Do the research. And one of the things about research is that it calms down your system. It literally calms down your system. It calms down your synapses so they're not rushing all over the places. And that's
Yeah.
good for children. That is really
Yeah.
good for children. And we had a principal here that introduced that into the schools. And because we had a parent that was like, oh my gosh, this is demonic. They are bringing this demonic stuff into the schools. The principal was fired.
Oh wow, that
Yes.
is very ignorant.
I mean, once again, we can go ahead and go look some things up, but we choose not to. There are people out here who choose not to. And so I asked that question because I'm sure that you have gotten some pushback somewhere about that. This is not what that is not of faith. So, because I guess in
Yeah.
the Bible they didn't exercise, so you can't exercise in Christianity. I don't know.
So I get where the misunderstanding comes from, because yoga is mentioned in Hinduist texts, in Hindu
Mhm,
text. So
mhm.
it's very much connected to Hinduism, because in the Hindu tradition it is practiced.
Right.
However, yoga is a practice of the self. It's a
Mm,
practice that can be incorporated into your life regardless of your faith, because what it helps you do is connect deeper to that faith, whatever that faith may be. Yoga never focuses on anything outside of yourself. It's always about you. Therefore, you are allowed to believe whatever you want to believe and still be able to incorporate that and be able to connect deeper to whatever that is for you.
so it's just another tool. A
It is
tool.
another tool.
Okay. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's a tool that encompasses what a human is at an ethical level, at a psychological level, and at a psycho-spiritual level, both consciously and unconsciously. So
Okay.
it is a way for you. Humans have a lot of layers. We are very complex beings. And in my frame of view, like, yoga is one of the only practices that truly looks at every single aspect of being a human,
Mhm.
and it sort of gives you roadmaps to how do you deal with your physical, how do you deal with your emotional, how do you
Right.
deal with your social. And to be honest, there's just not a lot of things out there that do that. So for me, it's one of the most complete practices that help you understand who you are at a deeper level, and that kind of helps you take more responsibility of your actions so that you are causing less harm to yourself and to others.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm telling you, you are awakening my mind right now. I'm kind of like, wait a minute, do I need to rush off to a yoga class? But in that space, though, I'm thinking, before we get to the 8 limbs, though, I do have to ask you, you went to yoga classes before you decided to get certified and do this life and live your life a different way. Did you get everything that you just spoke about in your yoga classes?
No, I started yoga really in 2008, and it wasn't until 2011 when I took my first yoga teacher training that my
Mhm.
mind was blown and that I understood like, wow, there's so much about this practice that I'm not incorporating, and that my journey really started. And I'll be honest, it wasn't until 2017 when I suffered I want to call it an injury because injuries heal. It's a
Yeah.
disease called Parsonage-Turner syndrome. And I
Mm,
woke up one morning and I couldn't grab anything with my right hand. It's a neurological thing.
mm.
That I really, really had to put everything I had learned to the test because I realized how attached I actually was to my body. But it's like everything, yoga's called a practice because there really isn't anywhere for you to be. There's just
Mhm.
always something for you to observe. And
Okay,
that's a really powerful aspect of the practice.
I like that. So why do you think why okay, so let me ask it this way. So yoga classes, let's say that they're an hour long, right?
Hmm.
And in that time, what you're saying is from your experience, it was just like you just come in and you're doing all of the yoga poses, but you're not getting the yoga practices in regards to thought in the way
Yeah.
that you're thinking. Okay, why is that?
I just think that's what attracts the Western people.
Mm,
It's just the movement, the body. Like this society as a whole is very much attached to our physical bodies. You can see that with all the women that are getting tons of surgeries and things to
yeah,
look a certain way. Um, Yoga teaches you that in the eight limbs, asana or the body is just one limb. So you have eight other or seven other things that you're not even really taking into account. You may hit a little bit in the breath, you may hit a little bit in the meditation, but truly you're just focusing on the physical body because that's what attracts people in this part of the world. When you go to India, for example, you notice that it is the other practices that are much more focused on than the physical practice.
I love that. And I love it because I believe that in westernized society, we are so afraid to deal with the other levels of self.
Yeah.
We are afraid to deal with the trauma. We are afraid to deal with the anger. We are afraid to deal with our emotions. We are afraid to think about how we even think and how we understand things
Yeah.
because that would challenge the status quo.
Yeah, and that's one thing about yoga that makes people resist deeper spiritual practices. It's that you start to take responsibility for yourself. You no longer put the blame on how you feel on everyone else. You start looking at your reactions and questioning, why do I think this way? Why do I believe this? Because one of the things that it teaches you is that a belief is just that. It's just something you decided. It
That's
may
right.
not be true, but
That's
that
right.
doesn't matter because it's what you believe. But then you start questioning those beliefs and you start questioning whether or not those beliefs even serve you. And that's why it's also a practice because as we
Mhm.
evolve as people, it teaches us that, hey, that belief used to serve me, that way of thinking used to serve me, but because it no longer serves me, I'm going to start taking a look at my life and I'm going to start deciding whether or not I still want to be that person. Because that's the power that we have. We can wake up and decide to be somebody else and boom, make a shift. Animals don't have that. They're just instinct. When we just let our mouth open and pardon my French, diarrhea come out without actually taking account and taking
Yep.
responsibility for what we say and how we're hurting other people. I mean, that's why we have such a divided society right now.
Oh gosh, I love that. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I wasn't being rude, y'all, because I had to like make sure that my laptop was plugged in before this laptop just shuts down. So I love that. So now I'm curious. So we talked about beyond the mat, beyond the yoga mat, right? So y'all, you're just not going to lay down and do this downward facing dog. So tell me, what are the eight limbs? Go. It is your floor, sis. Go ahead and tell us because I'm so curious. I'm so interested, and I've got to get my piece of paper because I'm always taking notes. So I've got my notes here. So we're gonna get this information today. What are these eight limbs that are beyond the yoga mat that we need to know about?
Yeah, so about 2,500 years ago, a sage named Patanjali decided that when he looked at these two earlier books that are about 5,000 years old called the Vedas, and then ones that are about like 3,500 years old called the Vedas and the Upanishads, he decided to systemize what sages were doing to become awakened, to become enlightened. And
Okay.
he decided that the definition of yoga is yoga chitta vritta nirodha, and that's in Sanskrit. And what it means in English is that yoga or union, chitta is mind, vritti is the fluctuations, and nirodha is the cessation. So yoga is the cessation and the union of the fluctuations of your mind. And the
Wow.
fluctuations of your mind are nothing more than all those crazy conversations that are always happening in your brain, all those thoughts that are popping in and out and affecting the way that you are feeling and the way that you're acting and the way that you are reacting. And he came up with these 8 basically steps that we can follow to liberate ourselves from the suffering that being human can have. And it starts with the first 2, which are the ethical practices. And these are called the yamas and the niyamas. The yamas are the restraint, it's the relationship that you have with the outer world. And the niyamas are the observances, and it's the relationship you have with yourself. The yamas, or the moral code, is ahimsa, which is nonviolence, satya, which is truthfulness, asteya, which is not stealing. And it's not just not stealing things, but time, energy, everything that can be taken.
Okay.
Brahmacharya, which means moderation and self-control, and aparigraha, which means non-possessiveness. And then you have your observances, or the niyamas, and these help develop positive personal aptitudes. They are saucha, which means purity or cleanliness. And it's not just cleanliness of your physical body, but it's what are you listening to? What conversations are you having? What food are you eating? It's everything that can cause disturbances in the body. Santosha, which means contentment. And it's not just that you walk around being happy and go lucky. It's that you realize that our natural state is love and joy. So you start kind of building that state of
Yeah.
joy, and you start noticing what takes away your joy and your relationship with those things. You have tapas, which is perseverance. It's that dedication to something. It's understanding that something needs to be done over and over in order to become a habit. Um, Svadhyaya, which is study. And it's not just study of external text and things, but also study of yourself.
Yeah.
And Ishvara Pranidhana, which means surrendering to a higher principle. And this is why yoga can be done in any religion or with any belief. It's because yoga doesn't tell you this higher thing is X, Y, or C. It tells you just know that there's something bigger than yourself. And that can be whatever it is that you believe that it is. Then you have in the physiological level. In the physiological level, we have asana, which is what most people understand as yoga, which is the yoga postures. It's your relationship with your body and how you are taking care of your physical body. We realize that the stronger and more limber we are, the healthier we can be, and the more that we can experience life without pain and suffering. And these asanas are meant to rebalance your body. It's based on your posture. It's based on the neuromuscular connection. It's very visceral. It helps with your endocrine system and with your circulatory system. Then you have pranayama. And pranayama is your ability to use your breath to regulate your emotions. So pranayama works both at an energetic and an emotional level, because we realize that our energy and our emotions are deeply connected. When you're very sad, your energy is very low. When you're really happy, your energy is very high. So it's an integration of your body and mind and emotions through your breath, and your ability to control that energy through your breath, which basically rebalances your vital energy and your emotions.
So
And prana,
something
yeah,
I want to say something that's really interesting, because when you started talking about the asana, I promise you I sat up more.
asana.
I was like, let me correct my posture really quickly. But then you also reminded me that most people don't realize that women have a lot of autoimmune diseases because they are irregulated and dysregulated with their emotions. right? And that is factual, y'all. Y'all can actually go find it. There's studies based on this, that because women hold in their emotions, hold in their thoughts, because we're taught to be polite. We're taught to be polite and not say things. We're taught to accept things. And that acceptance actually roots itself in our bodies and causes trauma.
Yeah. Yoga teaches you that the only way out is through. You can't just ignore something. You have to move through it. And holding it in and not dealing with it, you store those emotions in your body. And a lot of dis-ease comes from that.
Ooh, wait, say that again. Say that again. A lot of
dis-ease, right? Disease. It's dis-ease.
Okay, you are very smart. You are bringing me to a whole different level. I'm learning something new today, y'all, and y'all know how I like to learn something new. So go on.
So then from there we move into what is our sensory level, right? Because our senses, everything that we're experiencing through our senses, has the ability to affect also our energy and emotions, right? So our sensory level starts with pratyahara, and pratyahara is sense control, and it's kind of like withdrawal of your senses. It's your ability to have things happening out here, but not letting what's going on in here be affected. And my explanation to this is like, you're driving your car happy as a bee, and all of a sudden there's a car on fire on the side of the road. It's your ability to just know that there is a car on fire on the side of the road and keep driving without it affecting you. Whereas most people would be like, oh my God, the car's on fire. What happened? Did they get in an accident? And your mind starts going and going and going, asking questions that it can never get an answer to, which disturbs your peace and disturbs your state of emotion and energetic state without it actually being anything that actually needs to affect you, because it has nothing to do with you.
So I have a question, because you just challenged my thought process, right? Because first of all, can y'all stop driving on when y'all see an accident? Can y'all stop slowing down and holding up traffic? I just stop being the nosy drivers like that. But this brings me a question about being an empath, because I'm an empath and I absorb people's energy without even knowing. And even though I'm trying to mind my business, I still absorb people's energy. So are you saying that empaths are not supposed to they're supposed to regulate themselves in a way that they don't have to deal with other people's emotions or feelings or anything like that?
Yeah, it's not that you want to become less empathic towards other people. The difference is that emotion isn't yours. That feeling isn't yours. So, of course, you can notice how that person feels, put yourself in their shoes, and be there for that person without an opinion and without needing to fix their problem. But if you go home and that shifted your energy, there is something there that you need to work with for yourself so that that doesn't happen. So it's not that you stop being an empathic person, is that you stop allowing that to affect the way that you are operating as a person going forward.
Yeah, I love that explanation. And I wish one of my girlfriends was on here listening to that, because I'm always trying to talk her down. Like, come on now, sis, that's not yours to own. That is not yours to own. And it's interesting that, and I keep going, I like your analogy, because it can wind people up. And when I see something like that, if I see an accident, all I do is I pray and say, I hope they weren't harmed. I hope it was harmed through that and via whatever that is, because that I think gives the positive energy in the space, instead of getting the whirlwind of emotions that are so unhealthy.
Yeah, because that's what you use to help you regulate when you have that situation. So that's perfect, because that's the tool that serves you to regulate yourself. Wish them well, wish them the best, but you're not the one going through that. You cannot solve that. You cannot do anything about that. So you're not going to keep your mind on that and have your emotions and your energy be affected by something that you had nothing to do with and can do nothing about.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, girl. You were teaching me something today.
Oh, I love it, because that's the goal. That's why I do what I do. From there, we move into dharana. And dharana is concentration. It's your ability to focus the mind on something that you want it to be focused on. Most of us don't have awareness of our thought patterns. We have all these crazy conversations that are causing all these fluctuations in our energy, in our emotions, that again are not real because they're just thoughts and conversations happening in your mind, either based on something you said, based on something that happened, based on something that hasn't even happened, or that may
Right.
never happen, right? And that affects us all. So it's your ability to say, no, right now I'm doing this, and I'm working towards this, and I'm moving my concentration purposefully and consciously in this direction. So it's mindful awareness and conscious attention. And that's really important because this is really what starts bringing us into the higher levels of the practice, which is meditation, which is dhyana, because you need to be able to concentrate your mind before you can meditate. Most people think, oh, I meditate, I do guided meditations. Guided meditations are actually a form of dharana. They're a form of focus. They're not actual meditation.
Interesting.
True meditation is your ability to sit as you are and become the observer of your mind and the observer of the experience. Because what yoga teaches us is that the meat sack and the thoughts and the emotions, we are what knows that all of this is happening. We are the observer. Our true self, with a capital S, is the observer of the human experience, not the human going through the experience.
Yes.
And that is
Okay.
so powerful. And it has been, again, the biggest thing that yoga has taught me, because yoga is not something you do for an hour. It's a lifestyle. It's something you do all day, every day. You observe consciously what's happening. You become a mindful person. You become a presence instead of attached to your identity, your ego, and your person. And moving into these higher limbs of yoga is what will be healing for society. Because right now we are so attached to our ego. I am right. You are wrong.
Girl.
Yoga teaches you that there is no right or wrong. Yoga teaches you that there are thoughts about right and wrong. And there is an energetic connection to what is actually right or wrong. And it has nothing to do with your thoughts about it or your beliefs about it. It has more to do with the vibration that it's creating. So in your example earlier about racism, what happens? It brings people down. It lowers energy because it creates disconnect.
Yep.
That lowers our vibration and the vibration of the collective. That's what makes it not right. Not that it's wrong because you believe it's wrong. It's wrong because when you do it, you lower the vibration. You lift up your ego. Oh, I tore this person down to pieces. Oh yeah, well that's your ego speaking. But when you look at the bigger picture, you are hurting others through your speech.
Yeah.
So because that vibration is lowering, and it's really hard to feel this because we are so attached to our physical experience, we don't realize how much our vibration is affected. We only notice it, for example, when you're having a conversation with someone and then someone walks into the room that you may not even know, and you're like, oh my God, that person gives me the creeps.
Right.
That is literally you feeling their vibration. You may not understand that that's what's happening,
Right.
but our aura, it's much wider than we are. So
Right.
our vibration literally affects everyone around us by proxy. So when you are working on elevating your vibration, taking responsibility of how your actions, reactions, and thoughts and speech is affecting the vibration of others, that is what's actually impacting the collective. And it's elevating the state of humanity as a whole, because we are a human race. There
So
is no races other than the human race.
it is interesting that you are talking about this and defining it for us and crafting it for us in a way that I'm totally understanding, because, and I hope others will understand it as well, because I swear to you, I'm a true believer about energy, right? And because I'm a very spiritual person, and I truly believe that all of the issues that we're having in the world today are because of how low vibration, low energy we are in, because that low energy is negative. It
Yeah.
really is a negative instance. And everyone might think I'm crazy, but I truly believe we've got planes falling out the sky. We've got all kinds of things that are occurring in this
Yeah.
world. And that's not because of positivity, because there's
No.
no coming, right? It is literally because we are espousing so much negative energy into the world that we can't see positive. There can't be anything positive coming out of negative energy.
Yeah, and I mean, we can connect words to energy. It's just really hard for
Yep.
us to describe vibration with words. But for example, anger, hate,
Yep.
fear, those are all bigger wavelengths, lower vibration. Then
Mhm.
you have positivity, joy, love. Those are really fast waves. So it's a higher vibratory feeling. And that's kind of what we need to move at as a collective, because the ugly that we see in the world is a manifestation of the vibration that we're putting out into the world.
That's right.
That's, and I mean, whether we understand that or not is beside the point. Like
Right.
your beliefs don't determine
Exactly.
reality. Reality
Right.
is what is, but there are 8 billion realities, because each person determines their reality based on the eyes that they're looking through to see it. But what's happening is what's happening. Whether you believe it, don't believe it, think of it, don't think of it, that doesn't matter. It's a happening. Your thoughts on it determine what that means for you.
Mm.
So dhyana, or meditation, is your ability to come back to the self. The self has no age, it has no anger, it has no emotions, it has no sex, it has no race, it has no beliefs. It's just this thing that observes the experience. And most people
Sure.
are very disconnected from themselves, because you can either observe your thoughts or be in conversation with them. You can't do both of them at the same time. So what dharana, or focus, does is it starts to teach you to put your mind into one thing and start observing that thing, so that you can connect more to dhyana, which is meditation, which is the uninterrupted focus of your mind on what's happening. And what's happening is just the experience, not guided by you, not affected by you, only experience. And this is, of course, at the mental level. So now we're more at the psycho-spiritual level of the 8
Mhm.
limbs, which is the last 2. And this development of awareness and deeper connection to the self literally brings you more joy.
Mm.
Because when you can observe a crazy thought going by, and the crazy thought can be like, you're driving in the middle of the road, someone cuts you off, and the thought of like, I could just ream this person, right? Nothing wrong with the thought,
Nothing wrong with
but
the thought, y'all.
that's just the thought. It just came. But you can either keep the conversation and keep ruminating in that thought, or you can just watch it and be like, oh, well, that was a crazy thought, and just boop, keep moving with it without having any attachment to the fact that that went through your mind.
Right.
And then the final step in the 8 limbs of yoga is samadhi. And this is super consciousness. It's oneness. It's a union state. And it's the true meaning of yoga. It's the union of your experience with everybody else's experience, with the experience of the planet, with the experience of the universe. It's overcoming the brain patterns that are happening and going beyond your thought, beyond your ego, beyond your mind, and knowing that your individual consciousness, it's a part of universal consciousness. And this is also a little bit where some religions will fight yoga on. It's
Yeah.
because you are not separate from God. You
Yep.
are God having a human experience. You are the divine. The divine is not outside of you. You don't need to be blessed by God, because you are God. You don't need
Mm.
to be endowed with anything. You don't need any of that. Like, you are God. So if we believe that we are the son of God, right? Let's put it as like the words
Yeah.
that are in the Bible. We are the
Yep.
children of God. Okay, so children have the qualities of their parents. And
Right.
so what is the quality of God, right? The creator, the divine, the all loving. That means that you possess all those qualities. So
Right.
your job as a
Yeah.
human on earth, your only purpose we have a universal purpose for humanity. It's not, oh, my purpose is to share yoga. My purpose is to teach. No, no, no. We have a universal purpose, and that is to find joy, to find love, and to become God, to become the divine, to become all loving, all accepting. And that's kind of where religion will fight yoga, because they want you to believe that you are being judged, that your actions are you're gonna go to heaven or hell. In yoga, they don't necessarily believe that. They believe that heaven or hell is happening right now, and it's based on your relationship with your mind.
Listen,
And so, like, that's kind of where religion will fight it a little bit, right? Because if Catholicism wants you to believe that there is a God outside of yourself, that, well, first of all, you can't be all loving and all judging at the same time, because that's
yeah, it makes no
literally
sense.
like,
Yeah,
those
they're
are
polar
opposite.
opposites.
Yeah, they're polar opposites. So you're telling me that an all loving creature is gonna sit there and judge me, and if they don't believe that what I'm doing is right, they're gonna send me to an eternity of hell. Like,
Right.
it just doesn't work that way. And eternity just, I mean, and now I'm going into a Hindu philosophy,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah.
I don't necessarily follow any religion, any organized religion, but I do study a lot about the different philosophies of religion. They believe in reincarnation. They believe in karma. So what they believe is you're leaving these seeds every time that you do things and say things. And those seeds are what you reap in your life now. And if you believe in reincarnation, will determine your next life. But it's all for the same purpose. It's also that our spirit can find its divine being and can become that one thing with
You know,
God, with
isn't
the
it,
universe.
isn't it interesting, right? That you have, and I'm just going to say it as bluntly as this, that you have Christians who believe in karma only when there's a negative action to be taken and they want it to be used as retribution.
Yeah,
Isn't
karma's a bitch. That's what they
right?
say. Pardon my
Karma's
French,
fake,
right?
or karma's gonna get them, and then they're like, but you know what, this whole yoga thing is horrible, but you
Yeah.
just said about karma and you don't understand it and you want to weaponize karma.
Yeah.
Because it's
Karma
really,
is nothing more but the results of your actions. That's it.
but they always want it for other people but not themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, it's another funny thing about Christianity. Like, in the Bible, Christ says that you have everything I have. You are everything I am. Do not look upon me as something that's higher than yourself, because what I want you to be is me. Because what he's showing us is that we all have the power to be Christ-like. And that is really what yoga is attempting to
Yeah,
teach you as well. Your goal, and Buddhism is the same. You want to become
yeah,
the Buddha, right? It's really all the same story told in different ways for different
right.
people, but it's all leading us to the same place. What religion attempts to do is to teach us that there is a path towards becoming all loving, all joyful, and all accepting, and that is really what everyone is attempting to do. Why? Because that's when you liberate yourself from your thoughts, from your suffering, from your judgment, from your ego. And when you can liberate yourself from that, you are happy, you are peaceful. Like, it's a much just lighter life. Like, you can enjoy life. And I mean, unfortunately, we are so stuck to our thoughts, and we feel like our thoughts define us, that we are literally babies starting to crawl. We are acting like children. We are in adult bodies, but
Girl,
our minds are
yes,
still the mind of a child, where this is
yes,
mine and it's not yours and I'm not going to share it. Like, that's literally how most adults are still acting right now. And what yoga attempts to give us is the tools to grow up and become adults. And what's an adult? An adult is an all loving, all joyful, all peaceful, all
girl,
accepting.
you took adulthood to a whole different level because most people would say that adulthood is attached to the money, the house, the
Yeah.
car, the children, the dog that you're supposed to have, pay your
Yeah.
bills. That's what adulting is. It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with the level of self-reflection that you were supposed to have in your life to grow. Very
Yeah.
different concept. Oh, I
Yeah.
love this conversation.
And the thing is that a lot of these conditioning that society has placed on us is what leads us to suffer. Because, to be honest, like,
We have
I don't care about owning a Porsche. Most of my clothes comes from the Goodwill, not because I can't afford better clothes, but because I want to lesser the impact that I'm having. So if I buy something that someone already had, I'm creating less waste and I'm
That's
leaving
right.
less things behind. Right? So you start kind of looking at what matters to you. And to be honest, like that car, you can crash it. It can go to shit in no time. Or maybe you get in an accident and you can't drive the car anymore, or you lose your vision. Like, did that really bring you ultimate joy? No, like it was a momentary thing. There's been studies done with people who win the lottery and people who lose a limb. And like how much like the one that loses the limb gets depressed and the one that wins the lottery finds joy. And within a couple of years, their state of being is exactly what it was before they won the lottery or before they lost a limb, because our state of joy is not dependent on our experience. It's dependent on what we think of the
Woo,
experience as being.
girl.
And so when we attach our happiness to external things, we don't have control of that happiness. And unfortunately, in society, they make us believe that like there are these things that we need to get to be successful humans. And to be honest, you only become a successful human when you release your attachment to those things and you realize that your only job here is to love and to find joy and to find peace and to be accepting and to understand that we are here to be higher as a collective, to raise the vibration of humanity as a collective. But you only do that when you start to take responsibility for yourself.
Woo, girl, you have said a word. You have preached today. You have preached today. And as we are getting to close, Johanna, I appreciate you being here and sharing with us. And so when we spoke the other day, we said we're going to come up with a challenge, right? So, and I will reach out to you a little bit more about the challenge, because you guys, what we want to do is kind of like I'll be the guinea pig per se on
Yeah.
these 8 limbs, right? And
Yeah.
actually, there's a lot of them that I already practice. They're just named something different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we're going to come up with a challenge over the next couple of weeks that I want you guys to join in with me, or do it as you have time, because time is here.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't know when this one's going to post, so that's important too. So this is when you guys can join in, and always leave the good feedback about having this experience with me and us. But Johanna, I have a question for you. Can you leave like 3 tidbits for the listeners about where can we begin? Because I think people always just jump into like, let me go get my yoga mat and stretch real quick. What are the 3 things that you recommend that people do?
Okay, so the first one is if you're already practicing yoga, I challenge you to be more in the breath side of the practice so that you can create a moving meditation in your practice instead of just focusing what you look like. Notice how your
Mm,
breath is flowing, how your muscles are stretching, and how your muscles are working so that you can be more internal in your experience. The second one is if you've never done anything about yoga, I challenge you to just start noticing the conversations you're having in your mind,
mm,
because you can do that at all times of the day. It doesn't take you taking time away from anything. You are always in your mind.
yeah.
And the third one is I challenge you to notice the first thing that you do in the morning and how that makes you feel. Because you can change your whole entire day just by the way that your day starts, right? We often, you get up in the morning, you stub your toe, and you're like, oh, there goes my day. If this
Yep,
is how we're getting started. So I
yep.
challenge you to notice what it is that you do when you wake up, whether that's think of something, whether that's grab your phone, a practice of gratitude, and just notice how that makes you feel. And if it's not making you feel happy, joyful, and peaceful, I challenge you to start incorporating different things until you find what does.
Listen, you guys, y'all know how I like to take notes, because I'm over here going happy, joyful, peaceful. And one thing that you said, right, is practice your breath. I love that. So I think we're going to have to talk about that in our next kind of series of things, because since I was a little girl, and I think that's when it started, and I still do it to this day, I find myself holding my breath and I don't know why. And I catch myself and I'm like, oh, wait, you got to breathe. And I'm like, well, how is it that I forgot to breathe? But here's the thing. It's not one of those holding my breath where your cheeks are puffed out and, like I'm mad or anything like that. I don't even notice it. And I'm not even missing breath. Right. Like, but I don't even feel like I'm struggling to breathe. So that's an interesting thing. So practice your breath, and that I'm going to take that challenge on you guys, because like I said, I find myself holding my breath, which is probably not healthy and not good for my body as somebody that needs to release everything because this fibromyalgia. So Johanna, I have a question for you. This is a Caribbean girl to Caribbean girl question. Now, I love my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters, but I have a question. Why do my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters eat plantains that are green? I don't understand. Why are y'all so opposed to a good sweet plantain?
We're not. We just eat them in every form, in every shape, in every stage of maturation. So we eat them green in tostones and mofongo, but we do eat them yellow and amarillitos. So we definitely do like them yellow as well.
I just don't understand. The biggest fight in college amongst friends one day was my girlfriend decided that she was going to make tostones, and we were like, "Wait, what?" It's not even ripe, y'all. It's not ripe. And
we enjoy them from the second they come off the tree to the second. And amarillitos here in Puerto Rico, like they're made when the skin is turning as dark as you can get it. Like they're basically almost rotten, and that's when you cut them up and make the amarillo.
I eat them. That's when I like to eat them. But y'all don't promote that one. Y'all.
We do.
I need my mofongo made that way. See, because I won't eat mofongo because I'm like, it's like this, and I'm like, this banana is damn near raw. Like, I don't want it like that. I don't want it, but that's okay. I had to ask the question, so now I have the answer, and I just needed to put that out there because that's my biggest beef about Puerto Rico. No, it's too late now. It's too late now. It's so interesting, like a few. Like 2 years ago, my son went to Puerto Rico for his graduation gift, right, with a group of friends, and I was like, listen. Don't eat them green plantain. You're not going to understand that life. That is not the life you want. And he was just like, they eat them green. Yes, they eat them green. Y'all my people. So thank you, Johanna, so very much. Please share with the listeners, how can we find you?
You can find me on social media at Bay_lifestyle PR. You can schedule a meeting with me on my website at www.bay-lifestyle.com, or you can call me 815-501-5070. Would love to hear from you, even if you have a little resistance to what I'm saying. Let's hash it out. Let's talk it out.
Let's talk it out. So thank you all for joining me on the Conflict Whisperer on the Life Coaching Today platform. You all, if you need assistance, if you are being challenged, and I just feel like I need to say this right now, like there are people here for you. There are people here for you that will help you and guide you through. And don't be afraid to be open to learning other things, because guess what? Dismantling what we have learned helps us grow. Because some of the things that we've learned are not healthy, y'all. But that's not where I'm going to leave it, though. But we have learned that our Puerto Rican brothers and sisters actually do eat like a good sweet plantain. So that's something that we're going to celebrate. You all have a new assignment. Go buy the book from Brown Faces, White Faces by Latasha Morrison. And I've got to reach out to the sister to get her on to talk about this text. Because I think, you know what? And I think, Johanna, we're going to bring you back. And we're going to bring you back for a different kind of conversation, though, because I want to hear your thoughts about racism in the world.
Love it.
How that aligns. So, my dear, beautiful sister, thank you for joining the Conflict Whisperer team. You are welcome here anytime, and we will chat soon. I hope you guys have a good day.
See you soon.
One of the biggest challenges for coaches, practitioners, and hypnotherapists is getting clients. As coaches ourselves, we know how difficult it is on social media to stand out and gain credibility. That is why at Life Coaching Today, We connect coaches like you with clients. It all starts with our directory, where it's possible to create a profile that gets the right exposure with over 12,000 hits a month. You can gain credibility by writing for Life Coaching Today magazine, add videos, be interviewed on our podcasts, teach classes in the community, and sell your products directly from our website. Not to mention, we actually connect clients who are actively searching for coaches who can best serve them. So if you are struggling to get clients, have Life Coaching Today help you get more clients. Go to lifecoachingtoday.com.
Thank you for watching Life Coaching Today Presents, hosted by Kadada Gray and produced by Aruba Saad. Our mission at Life Coaching Today is to empower your health, business, community, and life. Check us out at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network would like to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and spread awesome. Thank you for watching Life Coaching Today Presents, hosted by Kadada Gray and produced by Aruba Saad. Our mission at Life Coaching Today is to empower your health, business, community, and life. Check us out at lifecoachingtoday.com. Everyone here at the True Awesome Network would like to remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and spread awesome.